Hey, how you doing?
I'm good.
Hey, Senator, how's it going?
One day at a time, buddy. How you
Yeah,
doing?
good, good. Hey, boy, we kind of dragged your colleague there for that tuna sandwich.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then you guys had a little visit this morning, right?
we did. It killed me to put cheese on tuna. It's like I don't get it.
I am so with you. I am not at all in favor of cheese with fish.
No,
I don't, it's not for me. Let me just say,
right,
I'm not going to judge, but it's just not for me.
exactly. No judgment here. It's just this is personal preferences. We're entitled to personal preferences. You know,
Exactly.
um, I told him the story how on Christmas Eve, being Italian American, we make the Feast of the Seven Fishes.
Yeah, of
And
course, right.
it's a ton of fish, but there also is a pasta course that kind of goes with one of the fish stews that I make. And my brother always wants to put cheese on it. And I'm like, no, 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 no. So
Right.
I go out of my way to make sure there is no Parmesan cheese in the house on Christmas Eve. So he started bringing his own. But no,
No kidding.
no, he does. And
Uh-huh.
so what's interesting though is I said, okay, fine. I told you I'll do a sort of a better version of a tuna melt, so I had to put cheese on it. So, but what I did is I used something a little more milder than cheddar. I used a Taleggio.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyway. So you've been cooking a lot at home, huh?
I've been cooking a lot. That's probably one of the silver linings of this pandemic for me in terms of the experience I'm having. Although cooking every meal is not so much. So I have figured out how to, one of the ways to get through it all, I just make twice of whatever I make. And then either that's lunch the next day or I freeze it and that, one day when don't feel like
Sure.
cooking. And
Yeah.
usually whatever I slow cook is something I'll then freeze half of it.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other thing I find is using leftovers. So the other day
Yeah.
I made my boys love ribs. So I made some ribs, and then we
Yeah.
had rice because my little guy doesn't like to eat meat, but if it's white food, he eats it. And
Uh-huh.
so I always try to have rice. And so the following day, I just took some of the leftover pork off the ribs,
Mhm.
cubed it up really small. I made fried rice. I threw some scallions and
Oh,
crab.
yes. Yeah, we've
And
been doing a lot of fried rice, actually.
yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
with
yeah.
that same point. And I do it actually with brown rice, and it's great, Yeah,
Yeah.
we've been doing a lot of fried rice.
Yeah, sure. I was never much of a, we don't.
You don't do brown rice?
No, I do brown rice. Yeah, but I never cooked a lot of rice. It was always one of these things. I never grew up eating rice. I grew up eating pasta, and so
Yeah.
lately I've just for some reason been craving it. And
Love rice.
so
And you know what I've started doing recently is wild rice. I grew up, almost every meal included rice. So I grew up with rice.
sure.
But now I'm starting to also do wild rice, which I always thought was a little, time intensive, but it's actually nice. It's a nice difference.
It has a nice texture. Yeah,
Yeah.
and a lot of real earthiness. You
Yeah, that's right.
That's
Yeah.
one of those foods. It's like beets to me, and mushrooms. You actually taste the earth. You taste where it was grown.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah,
Well,
cool.
I love wild rice, and then last night I roasted a chicken, and usually I stuff under the skin and let it sit in the fridge for a day or two with a lot of salt outside, dry it up, and then
Yeah.
slow roast it. That's I do,
Right.
like at 325 for
All right.
2 hours.
It sounds like you have some skills there.
Oh, well, I like to eat. My mother taught me, and when I was a child, she's like, "You like to eat good food. You better learn how to cook."
Right. And how does that come in handy? Does that come in? I imagine it comes in handy when you're back in DC too.
It
Yeah.
does. I mean, it's nice to have a home cooked meal. I mean, when we're in the normal routine, I don't have as much time to cook, but it is one of my joys. And we have a tradition at home of Sunday family dinner, which like the kids know they can bring anybody they want, whoever's in town. But I'll cook, I'll start cooking even maybe the night before. Friends come, my in-laws come, whoever is around, and that's my favorite thing all week is Sunday family dinner.
Yeah. I grew up like that. We had what we called macaroni and gravy. Now, Italian American, it's gravy though, and it's gravy when you have marinara sauce, and when you fry meatballs and sausage and ravioli and put it in the sauce, it becomes a gravy.
Right.
Pasta. We never called it pasta. We called it macaroni growing up.
Okay.
But that was the one meal that we had to be. Well, we had to be home every night, but that was the one meal we had that meal earlier in the evening, like late afternoon.
Yeah.
And then in the summer, we would go crabbing and do something similar with crabs. And when you sit around the table and pick crabs all night.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing that I saw, what food really had the power of doing is bringing people around the table because especially if you can crab all night, and the conversation goes to plenty of family gossip, obviously, and politics. And My father was involved in local politics a little bit, and so politics and sports and things like that. But you know, from an early age, I saw that it wasn't so much about what you're eating, but sort of bringing people around the table was really important. So,
you know, I grew up the same way, and in fact, when we were growing up as kids at the table, we were encouraged to speak up, but there was no baby talk. Like you speak up, and then you'd have to defend your point. You know, and there were some of the most incredible conversations with a lot of passion that would take place around our dining table. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember reading stories about the Kennedy family, and one thing I found really interesting, at the dinner table, they were assigned opposite ends of the debate. And even if they didn't believe in it, they still had to debate it. And it's,
and defend it.
Right. Okay, so listen, I'm starting to get tired of eating my food. You said you're getting tired of it too. So we're going to talk restaurants and getting restaurants.
Okay, good.
But I hear you have a recipe that you want to do, and I hear you have an onion hack that I have to see. So the stove
I have my onion here.
The stove is yours. Go do your thing.
See? All right. It's just very basic. Okay. Can you see the onion?
Yeah.
Okay. So, you know, you just get rid of the top, peel it. Okay. So that's obvious. Okay. Peel it.
Hey, Senator, I'm reading the screen here, and I got a lot of people saying Vice President Harris. I see a lot of people saying.
Right now,
I'm not going to put you on the spot. I'll let you do your onion, but I'm seeing it.
Okay, so keep the end, right?
Yeah.
Cut off the top, peel it, keep the end. Nice.
Right, so you got a flat surface to work on, right?
Yep. 3/4 of the way down, slice, slice, slice.
Right.
All right.
Yep.
Okay. So wait, I gotta go across because then another thing happens.
Yep. I got you. I see what you're doing. Yeah.
Yeah. And so that, and then the other way.
Yep.
And then I will show our friends just the easiest way to chop an onion. Okay, done. Got it, everybody?
Yep.
Now watch.
That's pretty awesome. You know, what's cool about that, that's great. What's cool about that is so typically, you know, I'll cut the onion in half and then do the same thing, but it's actually safer what you're doing because I have to hold the onion down and cut sort of into my hand.
Right.
Not into my hand, but it's a little tricky. But that's, I like that. That's good.
Right. And that's it. And you're not chopping all day long.
Awesome.
Right?
Yeah. So now I hear you're doing some Moroccan meatballs. Is that right?
I am. So I'm doing, that's for dinner. You know, so in the pandemic, we try not to go to the grocery store too often, buy a bunch of stuff and freeze it. So frozen beef, ground beef that has been defrosting overnight. I'm going to chop up cilantro, some green onions, clove, coriander, cumin. I'll do some, I actually love fresh peppers in almost anything.
Okay.
So I have some habanero peppers, and I'll chop them up very fine because, you know, they're super hot.
Right.
And a little cinnamon, which I don't have out yet. And hi, who's that?
My son, that's my son Luca. He's doing living.
Hey, Luca. Hi, I'm Kamala.
Yeah. I used to have hair like that.
Right.
Are you gonna make something after?
No. I'm not making it. I'll make you lunch after this, but.
Can I have what you're making?
Yes, sure, of course.
So that's pretty. And then I'll, you know, soak the bread. I actually freeze bread.
Okay.
Like a loaf of bread because it just extends the life of it. And then I always keep the ends of a loaf for meatballs.
Right.
And so, but these meatballs, and then so soak the bread in some milk. I'll probably add a little, and then a little chopped onion. But actually, I prefer in my meatballs to grate the onion.
Okay.
Just when I do Italian meatballs, I would love your recipe. But when I do Italian meatballs, I shred the onion because then it actually adds some moisture. Right?
Okay.
But with this chopped onion, now that I have shown everyone my technique,
You're going to use those.
I will probably make a sauce for the meatballs.
Right. I cry immediately when onions are cut. I would be bawling right now.
Oh, you have to get onion goggles. I got them for my husband. Oh, have you seen onion goggles?
No.
Oh, they're fantastic. And they will work in a pandemic too. They're just fantastic. They're green and they have suction so no air gets in. They're like swimming goggles.
I'll check these out.
Yeah, they're great.
Instead of a cutting board under the hood and turn the hood on so the air gets sucked out because I cry immediately.
You know, if you refrigerate the onion,
Yeah.
it reduces it a little bit before you cut it. Yeah.
All right. So are you finishing this recipe, or are you gonna?
Well, I mean, I'm gonna start it. I'll start chopping as we talk, but
Okay.
I have to honestly,
Okay.
Tom, it didn't completely defrost yet.
Awesome. Okay.
It's like, look, it's like
See, politicians tell the truth. They can tell the truth. There it is.
I thought it would be defrosted, but now it's not.
All right. So listen. So let's just chat. Let's chat restaurants for a second.
Okay.
I know you're from the San Francisco area. You guys love your restaurants there.
Yes.
As you kind of mentioned that, as much as you love to cook, after a while, I'm getting tired of my food. I want to get out to restaurants.
Right.
I own restaurants, and we're struggling right now. I mean,
I know.
I don't think that
know.
many of us, 2 months ago realized how bad of a situation we were looking at. And I'm a co-founder of the Independent Restaurant Coalition, and we've been fighting. I'm sure you've had calls from our members and people who are representing us, and we're a combination of scared for our livelihoods, for our employees' livelihoods, for the livelihoods of all the farmers, fishermen, oyster farmers, cheesemakers, all those people that supply us. Without us, we're the end product. Without us, they're going to go out of business too. And so we're, PPP. It's not helping that much. It helps if you're open and maybe you're depressed by 50%. But it doesn't help if and listen, to be clear, it was set up to help employees, and that was a great intention. But for me, I'm not going to open up for several months, and so if I got to take PPP now and hire my staff back, I'm going to lay them off. Because I just don't have jobs. I'm run out of money. So changing the date of origin, I think, would be a great idea, especially maybe moving it to July 31st, where the $600 plus up from federal unemployment runs out. That would help. But we're asking for something because getting open is a part of the equation. The other part of the equation is staying open, because we're looking at a good 12 to 18 months of economic downturn.
I agree.
And this is no one's fault. And so we're looking for a stabilization package that's not only going to get us open, but it's going to get us through at least the next 6-8 months. Because what we don't want to do is open, hire everybody back, and then 2 months realize that 70% of our business is gone and we can't get back. Everyone's going to get laid off again, and then those farmers are going to. So we're struggling. I'm great. Really grateful that people like you and other, Senator Warner and so many other people on the House side, like Rose DeLaura, who was a good friend of mine.
She's been terrific on this issue.
Yeah, and Lowy and Jim McGovern, and I've done a lot of work with him around hunger, and so. So people are listening. You guys are listening, and even on the other side of the aisle, people are listening. And so the question is, what's going to happen? And so we're really we're struggling with this, but we need some help, and not because we're looking for a handout. We're looking to get open, do what we do, employ all those people. 11 million people we're talking about that independent restaurants hire. And so those jobs. Some people, experts put it at 50% of the restaurants will not get through this.
Yeah.
That means 5.5 million people will not have jobs, and that's going to last a long time. So we need some help, and I'm really grateful that to have members of Congress and senators like yourself that obviously care about workers, care about jobs, care about restaurants, knowing that restaurants are really that conduit to sort of have stimulus really flow through, because it goes to 95 cents of every dollar we take in goes out the door. So if you talk about stimulus, I mean, you keep us going, we'll stimulate the economy.
And to your point, and it's been my experience my entire life, and certainly my entire adult life, our small restaurant owners and businesses are not only a business, but they really are part of the civic fabric of a community. It is the restaurant, it's the small businesses and restaurants in particular who are always the first to say, hey, you need to feed folks who are hungry. We're going to be there. We will donate. The first to, when we need to set up a food kitchen, that they are there. The first to hire locally. I have a cousin who has a restaurant in Oakland, a chicken and waffle restaurant.
Oh, okay.
And he started a whole thing. He just started it. He didn't name it. He didn't get any fame or recognition for it, but a reentry initiative. And he hired a bunch of folks who were formerly incarcerated and trained them, and has people who have been working in his restaurant now for a decade, who he took in and trained and invested in. And that's the experience I have with so many. I mean, all of the small restaurants I know, and by small I mean just, you know, those who are running day to day, but running an incredible business, but feeding a community in every way you can possibly feed.
Exactly. You know, Chef Jacques Pepin has a foundation. He does exactly that. He takes you know, previously incarcerated people and trains them in culinary arts and But yeah, but you're absolutely right. I call chefs and restaurateurs like we're the first responders when it comes to actually emergency feeding. I mean, look at the work that Jose Andres is doing around the country. But what he's done is he's just, you know, got an army of chefs that help out. But you're right, when it comes to fundraising, when it comes to you know just trying to taking care of our communities.
Yeah.
And that's what restaurants are all about. And that's, you know, you bring up a really great point, because when we're through this, when we figure out a cure, when we have that vaccine, when people start going back out, we need those cultural institutions to make sure they're intact, because that's where we're going to go to feel normal again. That's where we're going to go to you know, start celebrating again. That's where we're going to go to have, you know, celebrate our birthdays, our anniversaries. You know, we need that. That's going to make us feel that we actually got through this, and so we need to keep that intact. On all those cultural you know, institutions, not just, you know, food, but, you know, artists and musicians. I mean, FDR, part of the New Deal, he had, you know, musicians going out to the park to play. You had muralists painting amazing murals. And so, you know, it's important that, yes, we need to take care of our financial health, but we need to make sure that the things that make us uniquely American and make our country work, that those are all there and those are intact. Also, you know, I got to say, when we talk about saving restaurants, we're not talking about, some famous chef on TV restaurant. We're talking about the recent immigrant that came here. They came to this country with a dream. They pooled all their money, and mom and dad are working in that restaurant every night. The kids are working there. Those are the restaurants that we need to save. You know, all those small little places. That's what this is about. It's you know, a guy like me, I'll get by. I'll figure it out. You know, but we need to take care of people who are going to really struggle, you know, through this, especially, you know, the restaurants like my friend Naomi Pomeroy has a restaurant in Portland where she's 22 seats. You know, she's going to close. She's not going to get through this. And so, you know, but to your point also about just the part of that, it's part of what makes a community of, right? That we are all, it's that neighborhood restaurant that when you go there, they're so used to it. It's like going to your mother's kitchen, where they sit you down and feed you what they know you like. It's that neighborhood restaurant. We have a couple that my husband and I go to, like if I'm campaigning after a long day, and I might call and say, is your kitchen still open? Come on in, Kamala. And you sit down and they just give you a beautiful bowl of pasta or something else. And it's literally like being in your mother's kitchen. It's the song. You want to go where people know your name. Yeah. And it's exactly, but this is who our small restaurants, this is who these restaurants are. They're literally family and part of community for so many people, especially in neighborhood restaurants, to your point, with, you know, 5-10 tables, they can seat 30 people. And it's a labor of love that they perform. And it would be a shame to lose them. It would be a shame. We can't lose them. It's part of what makes us rich as a community, right? In terms of the fabric of a community. Sure. It's also that first job for somebody. You talk to so many people and they're like, oh yeah, when I was in college, I waited tables. That's how I got by. Or in between jobs, I waited tables. And so, you know, but we're gonna need that. You're gonna need to walk into your place and see your favorite bartender, your favorite server. And you're gonna, you know, need to throw your arms around them and know that they're safe and they're there. So, well, one of the things, to the point of this conversation, Tom, that we're also fighting for in the next package is it shouldn't. The small businesses should not be treated like they should not be in the same tranche as publicly traded companies. Absolutely, like we gotta correct that. That's a real problem. Right. The Independent Restaurant Coalition. That's where we make our distinction. It can't be publicly traded restaurants, and it can't be restaurants that have over 20 similar locations.
Right.
Yeah, so we're trying to sort of figure that out. But also, listen, that's great, but there's a whole lot of jobs out there. There's a whole lot of restaurants out there, small, medium-sized restaurants. We just want to be there for you. We want to be there for America. We want to, continue to grow and be that place to welcome people. That's what we're looking to do. We want to be there on the other side of this to welcome, America back to their favorite place. So,
you're great.
Thanks.
What are you making for lunch?
I don't know. I'm not sure yet. I had tuna left over from the 9 o'clock session.
I did too, because
yeah.
I did my video with Mark at like 5 in the afternoon, and that wasn't going to be for dinner. So we had tuna sandwiches the next day.
Yeah. So I don't know. That's what I think there's going to be some tuna in it somewhere. But I don't know. We'll figure out what they want to eat. But I know they're also. I promised them a catch in the yard, so I got to get out and do that.
Good.
Yeah,
that's great.
Anyway, listen, it was great seeing you, and
thank you for everything you do.
I'm sure we'll see. If you see your sister, tell her hi.
I will. I promise.
Yeah, Maya. I spent some time with her on the last presidential campaign.
Yeah,
she's awesome.
I will, and I will tell her. Thank you.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Thanks.
Great. You be well, and thank you for
you too. Stay safe.
I'll see you later.
All right. Take care. Bye.